indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the minutes show that Executive Assistant Lori Marsh is acting as recording secretary. And a roll call for the commissioners present. Commissioner Davis,
Here?
Commissioner Mello,
Here.
and Commissioner Horton is here. All three commissioners are present. I'd like to recognize the staff present, Chief Matthew Cantfield and Councilor Bruce Cheney. We have a quorum, and since there are three commissioners present, we will proceed with the agenda. On to personnel matters, accommodations and awards.
We'll be holding our annual awards ceremony in October to correlate with the rescheduling of the National Police Week events that will usually take place in May. So when we get those details finalized, I'll let the commission know.
Resignations and retirement, Chief Canfield.
Nothing?
Promotions and classification changes, Chief Canfield.
Nothing?
Command staff reports, support division, Chief Canfield.
So they've been working hard to wrap up year-end budget, which is looking good, and we should be within budget. They've been working on actively searching for numerous grants, one of which is a JAG grant from the Department of Justice, about $14,000, and they've been searching for several other grants that will be brought to you when they're finalized. They're also they have wrapped up the radio project, so I think they were working with Ospey Mountain to iron out a few of the fine-tuning things, but for the most part, that project has been wrapped up as well. That's it for support.
Questions? Moving on, operations division, Chief Canfield.
So we're in the middle of Motorcycle Week. They've spent a lot of time planning this, Captain Finogle and Lieutenant Noyes, and so far so good. The week is going well. The first weekend we had a total of 17 accidents, several of which had injury. But other than that, I think they were busier downtown with normal stuff than they were Motorcycle Week related. So that's a good thing, and hopefully that carries throughout the rest of the week. They've working the summer schedule, so all the firearms qualification training took place before we started the summer schedule, so they're well into that. Been planning for 4th of July, which looks like it'll be normal events with some bands at O-Pee-Chee, and it looks like Councilor Felch has put together a parade that will start at the high school and run to O-Pee-Chee Park. Lastly, they've been working to put people on the schedule in some different capacities instead of just uniform patrol, particularly the bikes and some walk-in patrols hitting the downtown area, the WOW Trail, and just looking to provide that visibility down there. In addition to that, we'll be using some of our highway safety grant money to enforce some of the right-hand turns, which was recently a concern that was brought forward. People making right-hand turns when the cross signal is lit. So we'll be looking to do a little bit more with enforcement on that, as well as enforcement of the, I don't know if you've seen these motorized scooters that have become quite popular riding on the sidewalks. So those are prohibited from the sidewalk. So we'll be looking to do a little bit of enforcement and education on that, because it can be quite dangerous if someone's walking on the sidewalk and gets clobbered by one of those. So that is it for operations.
Just a couple questions. Scooters allowed in the WOW Trail as well? Do you know, or
I believe, I don't know.
kind of in between? I kind of,
Yeah.
not that I've seen a lot of them, but I just wondered if they're,
Yeah, I don't know about the WOW Trail itself. They are from the sidewalk, so I would assume that it would be consistent,
yeah.
but I can double check on that.
Yeah, just curious. Do you have any sense of the numbers of bikes this week? Is it, think it's about the same as it's been, or is it down?
You know, I think Charlie St. Clair is probably the one to consult with on that one, but I don't know. I mean, the first weekend was busy in comparison to the last probably 5 years. But as far as numbers go, I couldn't give you a specific number.
Seems like, when I was up riding the roads up north today, it seems like there's quite a few bikes around, so I just was curious if there had any sense of whether it's more or less, or,
Yeah, I mean, you know, the first weekend it was backed up. Traffic was backed up beyond the Nazwa on the boulevard, and 11B was backed up over the hill all the way to Plantation Road, and then on the hill up to, it varied, but beyond Cumberland Farms anyway.
yeah.
So-
okay.
Definitely significant. I think the weather going into this weekend is looking really good too. So I think it'll be pretty busy.
Yeah, yeah.
Hirings, Chief Canfield.
We currently have one opening. They did a PT test and a recruitment test last weekend, so we didn't have a whole lot of qualified successful candidates out of that, but there are two that are in the works that we're looking at, so hopefully we can get something of quality out of that to fill that one position, but I know the interviews are coming up, I think, next week, so.
Do you know how many applications you had for that position?
I don't know how many actual applications, but I think we had 2 qualified people show up.
Show up.
You know, the PT, it wasn't well received, so.
4 or 5 years ago, how many applicants would you have had?
A lot more than that, and then, you know, going back 10 years, we probably would have had, you know, a couple hundred. So certainly not real competitive to get into this field. So
Sad.
it is.
It's sad. Any other questions, comments?
And what we compete with is other agencies. State Police held their PT test and their recruitment test on Saturday, so, you know, we're competing with that, and certainly people know what's out there, and they're being enticed by whether it's pay, benefits, or stuff, career stuff that they can do. So we do compete with that with limited numbers, so. I know even State Police just recently relaxed their tattoo policy. Now you can have tattoos, so trying to gain more applicants.
Okay, moving on to commission action. You all received a copy of the previous meeting minutes.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Is there a second
Second?
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right,
Aye, unanimous. On the motion made by Commissioner Mello, seconded by Commissioner Davis, passes unanimously. The meeting minutes of May 19th, 2021 were accepted as distributed. Out-of-state schools.
So this is a request to send one of our dispatchers, Amanda Mountford, to the APCO International Conference in San Antonio, Texas. She knows several other people that are attending this conference that she can stay with, so we will not have to pay for a place to stay. So we'll just be paying for her travel expenses and meals. APCO is a dispatchers conference that has brought a lot of good training that they've done already, so hopefully she can glean some information out of this and bring it back and share that with other dispatchers. We're trying to bring the level of proficiency and expertise up in our dispatch center. One of those upgrades included the priority dispatch software that we are now currently up and running with, and this will continue along those same lines.
Any questions or discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we send this young lady to the school.
There a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right,
On the motion made by Commissioner Mello, seconded by Commissioner Davis, passes unanimously.
That just needs to be signed off by somebody.
Yep. I'll give this to our clerk, Commissioner Mello. Review of monthly activity reports, department monthly highlights. Chief Canfield.
So for the month of May, we responded to a total of 2,634 calls for service. This is up 43.33% over the same month last year. Investigated 304 criminal offenses, cleared 205 of those by arrest, and 107 of those with physical custody arrests. 16 people into protective custody for intoxication. Responded to a total of 34 domestic disturbance calls for the month, 127 other disturbances, 7 suicidal subjects, and investigated 18 violation of restraining orders.
Seems that these numbers keep going up and up and up.
It's certainly a lot busier than it's been for quite a while. Just bear in mind that some of those numbers seem really high. You know, when you're talking about 43% more,
Yeah.
but it's also because we were in the middle of COVID in May, and we saw a decline. So that, even though we are busier, that 43% is probably not a true number compared to, because we're comparing it to last year when everybody was kind of hunkered down, so.
Criminal investigative unit statistics. Chief Canfield.
So for the month of May this year, they investigated, or they took on 23 initial cases, conducted 13 follow-up on other cases, made 2 felony arrests, initiated 3 felony charges, initiated or made 5 misdemeanor arrests, and generated 2 additional misdemeanor charges. They conducted 8 search warrants, cleared 1 case exceptionally, conducted 21 sex offender registrations, investigated 1 computer-related crime, 6 knock and talk drug investigations, 5 drug intel sheets. They helped cover 1 patrol shift, and conducted 126 training hours, which was mostly for firearms training. In addition to that, they conducted a total of 30 body-worn camera redactions. Oh, okay.
Questions, comments? Budget printouts. Chief Canfield.
The budget is looking good. We're wrapping up year end. Budget year concludes the end of this month, so.
You predict returning 120,000 maybe to the?
I think they're gonna take some of the radio stuff out of that, but yeah, I think we should be returning a fairly significant amount this year.
Back to the city. Good. That speaks highly of those of you who keep your finger on the budget.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're responsible in our spending, and certainly if it's needed, we use it, but.
Monthly traffic statistics. Chief Canfield.
For the month of May this year, we issued a total of 105 parking tickets. Responded to a total of 40 motor vehicle accidents, 11 of which had personal injury. Number 1 cause for accidents for the month was driver inattention, which attributed to 13 of those accidents, followed by other, which could be a number of different things, but that accounted for 7 of those accidents. Number 1 location was on Union Avenue. That accounted for 12 of those motor vehicle accidents. For the month of May, we stopped 1,056 traffic stops, issued 57 summonses and 902 written warnings.
Questions, comments? Moving on to the monthly fleet report. Chief Canfield.
Nothing to report on the monthly fleet report, although all our new cars that we got from last year are finally all online as of several weeks ago. So COVID had an impact on that along, as it has with many different things and getting parts and equipment and stuff, but they're finally online and operational.
Moving on, correspondence to and from the department.
So we got a nice thank you letter from the Kiwanis Club for our participation with them in their bicycle safety rodeo that they do each year. You know, it was a nice thing, but it was certainly a great partnership with Kiwanis, and then it turned out to be the Salvation Army as well. They donated over 60 brand-new bicycles to kids that didn't have any. So as much as we participated in that event, it was certainly a true team thing, you know, led by the Kiwanis. So we look forward to doing that rodeo each year, teaching bicycle safety, issuing out helmets that we get from Highway Safety, and certainly this year the ability to give away bikes to needy kids was certainly the highlight of it. We had another thank you letter from an anonymous person for Happy Law Enforcement Week, and then a nice thank you letter from another citizen. There was a thank you letter that was sent to us for our participation with the Make-A-Wish event on an escort as well.
Those are the things the community needs to be made aware of.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
just really great stuff.
Just good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, moving on to Chief's report. Chief.
We've had 31 drug overdoses year to date. Last year, as compared to last year, we had a total of 78 drug overdoses for the year. So it's kind of running about the same course as last year. We've had a total of 3 drug overdose deaths. If you look at this chart that's in your packet, it shows 1, but it's actually 3. We had 2 in one day about a week ago. So that is trending a little bit high. We had 4 overdose deaths last year. Budget presentation, we did that last, as you know. We did that about a week ago. Eric Adams did a presentation on his work, and certainly we look forward to expanding that program to other agencies if we can so do. Tomorrow afternoon and Friday, there'll be a company coming up to do a recruitment video for us. So they'll be speaking to several officers throughout the department. They'll be doing some footage and putting together a recruitment video that we can hopefully attract qualified people to become police officers here. So it'll highlight some of the specialty units that we have in the department, as well as following the officers, listening to them speak about why they like working in Laconia, why they like the city of Laconia, and then follow them as they interact with people. So hopefully that turns out to be a great tool that we can tag onto our website, tag onto social media, and really get the word out that this is the place people want to work. So once that's complete, I'll certainly get you guys a copy of it so you can see it as well. And that is it.
Questions, comments?
No question.
Moving on to old business. Chief?
Nothing?
New business.
Nothing?
Other business.
Nothing?
Citizens' comments.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm Bruce Cheney. I wanted to rise about 2 issues. The first one is the chief in his presentation to the council on the budget mentioned the traffic officer, and I have spoken to him, but I want to reiterate that the council authorized 2 positions, and I hope we fill a second position if that has not happened. The second thing, and I'm sure this will come as a shock to you, I'd like to discuss the budget. Before I do, I want to make it perfectly clear, I speak for Bruce Cheney, not for the city council. These are just my views. And I understand you're in negotiations, and that, believe me, I understand it's not an easy process to try and get through or whatever. What I wanted to point out, you've probably already figured, what are there, about 50 full-time employees?
Yeah, about that.
Okay. A cut in the 1.8% cost of living for 50 employees would equal out to $280 for the year per employee. And if you divide that by 52 pay weeks, that works out to $5.38 that the union would lose. And not taking into account what they're going to get from the stipends that would add to their pay. And I'm telling you what I know you already know, but I'm hoping the union president will hear this and give some thought, you know, to at least one councilman who thinks a little bit of leeway on your part over the long haul will be better for everybody, certainly for the union members over the long haul, because next year they'll get the same cost of living as everyone else. They will already have the stipends in hand. So like I said, I'm here to not lecture you, because I know you guys already know this. Certainly not the chief, who I've talked to, and I know is as frustrated as I'm sure you are with the process and how it's going. But I wanted to point those things out that, you know, we're not asking them to take a huge cut in pay in order to get these stipends. We've negotiated, and again, I want to emphasize, I speak only for myself, but what I've seen is we've negotiated with all the other unions. We've arrived at 1.8. To now give you 1.8 plus is going to force those unions to come, I say force, will probably force those unions to come back and say, well, what about us? Which is fair. Fair. My argument would be if you want to take a cut in the 1.8% to get some stipends in your organization, we'll entertain that. But, and I've heard some of the arguments, and I think they're valid arguments about what the city spends money on. But these are contract issues, and we've dealt with other unions to the point where everybody's in line except the police union. And I hope by what I'm saying I can encourage them to rethink this hard line and think about if we take $5.38, and I suspect if you sat down and figured it out, it's even less than that, because every employee would take whatever percentage you would take if you lose 0.02% of your pay. If everybody does, you lose it too. The captains do, everybody. So the union's not being singled out in taking that cut. Everybody will, and when I, doing the quick math, come to $5.38 a payday, which is just slightly more than a large cup of coffee today. I hope they'll reconsider. I want to support the department. I hope you guys know that. Sincerely, I want to support you, but I also understand the difficulty the manager and the mayor have with dealing with other unions on pay issues. So if they can give a little room, I will champion getting it done for you. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all. Any
Thank you.
questions for me? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Confirmation of the next meeting date, July 21st. Any conflicts? Okay. And Anything else for the good of the order? If not, is there a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion that we adjourn.
A motion made by Commissioner Mello,
Second?
second by Commissioner Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously, and the meeting is adjourned at 3:26:03.
And then we need to go into a non-meeting,
Okay.
talk about labor.
We'd like to go into a non-meeting to discuss some issues. Do I hear a motion to go into non-meeting?
So moved. We're going to non-meeting?
Counselor?
All in favor?